Welcome to today's show. Tucson Luxe Living features exceptional products and services for the area's top consumers, bringing together high-end real estate, business, money, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Alicia Kramer, local realtor supporting the area's business professionals with their personal real estate needs. And today's guest is DeAnna Radaj. She is a healthy home design consultant, and I am excited to pick her brain. We're going to learn all sorts of cool stuff today. Welcome to the show, DeAnna.
Thank you, Alicia. Nice to speak with you and everyone.
All right, so let's get right into this because what you do is a little bit different than a conventional designer. So can you just start by sharing with us, what is it that you're out there doing for your clients?
Well, I have combined feng shui, healthy home design, and universal design principles, kind of fused it into one thing that I like to call eco shui. And it's a combination of creating a healthy space, along with intentional space planning with feng shui, along with regular interior design that you would think of when you would go into any kind of showroom, furniture, gallery, or working with a traditional interior designer. So we go through about a half an hour interview process. There's a whole questionnaire that everybody gets. And we really sit down and discuss, I like to call it, what is your pain? What isn't working for you in your home? Are you downsizing? Are you expecting a new addition? Kids starting school and we're doing a dedicated study space. You're starting a business. So how are we carving out an office space, in our existing home? And then creating using feng shui, using healthy home principles, how we're creating a supportive space for success. So that's what I like to do with all of my clients. We have a lot of fun most of the time. The clutter busting causes lots of profanity, usually thrown my way.
And now what you're doing isn't just purely aesthetic. It's about the energy. It's about the feeling that someone has when they're in that space, correct?
Exactly. Yes. It's when you are, I'll use this example. This is one of my favorite ones. I was working with a very successful newscaster back in Wisconsin. And we were actually doing little feng shui segments for the lunch newscast, little 2-minute, minis. And when we walked into her space, the first thing I noticed was all of the sad artwork that was in her space. And like I said, single, successful. And when we were off camera, I said, I'm not going to obviously say this on camera, but are you looking for a relationship? And she said, yes, I just went through a real serious breakup, would love to get back out there and focus on this. I said, well, if you don't mind, here's what I'd like to say. The artwork is a single woman in profile looking down, and it was all silhouette in black. And I said, no, we can't have this. It's in your relationship area. It's in your bedroom. We just need to move it, because she loved this artist. So it was all about, what is the intention of the person that I'm working with, the intention of the room. In feng shui, every room has a life area that it supports, and then making sure that we were setting it up to support what she wanted. So it was moving the sad artwork out and moving things in that were in pairs and represented romance for her.
Yeah. And it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, but when we're in our space, I always use the example. So if I'm meeting with a prospective home seller and we're looking at their property and trying to be objective about what needs to occur before it goes on the market. One of the things that I'll often share with people just to kind of get your mind thinking differently is, that little spot on the wall over there that originally drove you crazy and you thought to yourself, we've got to do something about that. It looks terrible.
Right.
Once you've seen that every day for a couple of weeks, you start to get desensitized to it.
Yes.
And after a while, it's still there. It still registers. You still actually do have a little bit of a psychological and emotional charge when you notice that. It doesn't make you feel great,
right.
But you've become so desensitized to it that it almost takes that outside perspective who is more objective to say, that's bringing you down. That's bringing down the overall feeling of this space. And I can imagine that a lot of the people that you work with, that's pretty much the phenomena that you're encountering. It's like, I don't understand what it is about this space that brings me down or doesn't feel right or doesn't energize me. But something about it has to change. And then you come in with that fresh perspective and you kind of shake things up and create a space that really elevates people.
Yeah, and it's, I always like to tell people I'm not going to come in and tell you to hang chimes and crystals everywhere, because that's not what I do. I do have a degree in interior design as well as being certified in feng shui. So I can speak to, I'm going to create a beautiful space that suits you. I also have a construction background, so I can also objectively look at work that needs to be done, what can be done within budgets, and even setting up. I've worked with clients where we set up a plan. Hey, we're going to work on this right now, but here's your 1, 2, 3 year, steps of, we're going to start here for the foundation. We'll work on this next, and then next as budget allows, and doing things like that. So fusing it all together, I know it's mostly the women who will come to workshops, or if I'm speaking at a home and garden show or something, and the husbands, whatever makes you happy. But then once the husbands maybe are there or are going to see, again, we're not hanging crystals and chimes all over the place, and I can speak to the space, the bones of the space, the plumbing and the electricity. I've gotten more husbands on board and fans where we can't get the TV or move the TV unless DeAnna says it's okay. I still have people who do that. So again, it is a team project, and it's all about creating a beautiful, healthy, supportive space. And whether it's a 30-minute consultation to a 10-year, relationship. I've got people, that I work with the beginning of every year. Hey, we just need to do a declutter, or they'll call, hey, I'm starting this business. Can we tweak the office space a little bit? No worries, whatever works and whatever fits.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the fact that you are currently in Florida, although you mentioned you might possibly be migrating over this way. But you work remotely. So explain to us how that works when you're working with clients who are in a different state.
I use Skype. I use Zoom. I started using, in fact, Skype probably 7 years ago, working with people when I was trying to expand my business doing telesummits. So I've actually worked with clients in Canada. I've even done some stuff in the UK by email, and I'm open as long as you have a phone or a laptop with the camera. One of my best friends, one of my yearly people, she's got her little Apple iPad, and we've got it down of how she walks me, through her space with her tablet. where we can talk. And then I do a write-up and send it off to you. And if there's any questions, we can set up follow-up appointments. I try and use technology to help as much as possible with people near and far. So, yeah.
And although from a practical perspective, that is beneficial for clients, regardless of where they are located. If we're looking at the situation with COVID, where people are feeling more comfortable about social interaction and having people in their homes, there still are a lot of people who are not comfortable with it. And when you're spending so much time in your space, you really need it to be a supportive environment. So I can see how even your own local clientele can benefit from the use of technology.
Exactly. And in fact, it's, even before COVID, it was just so much more convenient and efficient from both angles. I do a lot of work with NKBA, the National Kitchen and Bath Association, and it was getting to the airport, jumping on a plane, all of, the travel expenses. So whether it was by air or even driving and traffic and the stress that can cause. So actually just using this, whether you're down the block or you're 5 states away, this has just been almost a godsend, much more efficient. Everybody gets, I believe, more out of it because you are right there, in the moment. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful tool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You briefly touched on clutter and also creating that supportive space. So I was hoping that maybe you could talk to us a little bit on how that affects us, and maybe some tips or some of your expertise on what people can start to do to create a better space without the big project.
Well, even if you think you don't have anything to get rid of, you do. Okay. So we'll just start right there. What I have people start with is a drawer. You will not get it done in one day. One class I was teaching, the husband said, we're just going to throw it all in a dumpster and start new. If you can do that, great. Most of us can't. But there's 3 big questions. Do you love it? Do you use it? And do you need it? And you have to physically pick something up. You have to touch it. So it's emptying out the junk drawer, picking up everything. And do you love it? It's a pen. Do I use it? Yes. Do I need it? Therefore, I'm keeping the pen. Do I need 20 boxes of pens like I found in people's offices? No, you do not, especially if you're an office of 2, okay? And I'm going to out my mother on that one. I used to do clutter busting at her office every year, and their supply closet was a mess. And she said, oh, it was just a mistake. It was more hassle sending everything back. And I mean, the thousands of dollars of waste. So it's taking out the emotional charge of some of it. I had one person come up to me cleaning out someone who's passed away or after a divorce or breakup. It's hard. So sticking to those 3 questions: love it, use it, need it. And if you love it, why do you love it? Does it make you happy when you look at something? If not, then it has to go. It can be donated, it can be recycled, it can be thrown away. If you love a shirt, but there's missing buttons and you've kind of thrown it, you know, on the floor in the closet because you're going to sew the buttons back on, but it's been sitting there for 6 months and you still haven't sewn the buttons back on, either sew the buttons on or you have to donate it. Okay, because it obviously doesn't mean that much to you. You would have sewn the buttons back on, you know, right? Does that make sense?
So true.
You know, I've got 2 funny stories, but the one people like the most is my garlic press story. I was watching, you know, very into Martha Stewart, wanted to be this fabulous hostess with this fabulous kitchen and everything perfect. And it has to be noticed, I don't cook. Okay. Okay. And Martha had a garlic press and she loved her garlic press. So because Martha loved the garlic press and used the garlic press, I bought a garlic press. The garlic press made it through, I believe it was 3 moves. One was a cross-country move and never made it out of the box. It was very hard for me, though, to get rid of that garlic press because it was the image I had of myself when I bought the garlic press. So when you're looking at the emotional charge of something, it's what's being triggered. Is it that you are going to be this fabulous hostess and you have a garlic press, so you're, you know, right? Or is it that it's attached to an ex relationship that you're trying to hang on to, good, bad, otherwise? Or does it really bring up loving memories of a parent who's passed away and it just makes your heart happy? You know, so thinking of how you can repurpose some of those things. I've had clients who've taken shirts from parents or spouses who passed away and have made pillows or quilts out of them. So being able to keep something that's beloved close to you where you're using it and appreciating it, as opposed to keeping that same shirt and maybe it's in a box or still hanging up in a closet somewhere. So looking at things that way. And it is okay if you like something, but you have like no use for it anymore. When I was going through my my feng shui certification, we had to go through a whole clutter module. And I got on the phone with the teacher. You know, I teach clutter classes. I don't have a clutter problem. Everyone has a clutter problem, you know, so we went through and I collect penguins. I've collected penguins since, I mean, I was like 10 years old. So I had a very large collection. And she said, I want you going through your collection. And it was love, use, need. Well, obviously I loved everything, used it, needed it. I had, you know, nice display. But she said, now take it one step further. And this is the emotional charge. What feeling do you get when you look at it and hold it? And when I was picking up each of the items, for at least half of them, I couldn't remember who gave it to me or where I got it from. So there was no emotional charge attached to it. And I let it go. I mean, I cried when I went, when I took everything, you know, to Goodwill, but I was only kind of hanging on to it because it was a penguin, which now saying it sounds really stupid. But so when we're looking at our collections, why do you have them? The Beanie Babies. I don't know if anyone can remember Beanie Babies. It's going to send my kid to college someday. It's not. Okay. Some of your sports collections, again, if you love it, get it out there, enjoy it, use it. We've created beautiful shadow boxes, displays that you can enjoy yourself. things. I have a friend who collects beautiful plates, and her husband actually built her a closet that housed her plates. And it was a big deal. Every change of the seasons, she would have a plate party where she had the ceremonial changing of the plates, you know, for that season. So it was her way of using and loving and sharing that with, you know, her family and friends. So when you're going through your things, does it bring you joy, you know, or do you get irritated? That's from my stupid ex-boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. So instead of going out and having a good time with your friends and you're wearing this expensive sweater that he gave you, you know, all of those negative feelings get brought up. So no matter how much money you've spent on something, you got it on a great deal or you spent a lot of money on it, if it doesn't make you happy, it's got to go. It can make somebody else really happy, you
Great
know, who's
advice.
not going to want to go, you know, every time it's brought up.
So share with us now, DeAnna, if somebody's listening to this and they are thinking to themselves, I need her help, how do they get in touch with you?
Best email address is DeAnnaOnDesign@gmail.com. I answer emails within 24 hours. I'm on Facebook on DeAnna On Design, checking that out, the messaging, or phone number 414-403-8174. You know, shoot me a text, send me a voicemail, and on LinkedIn at DeAnna and then Radaj. Radaj. So those are the best ways.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up for today, was there anything else that you wanted to share with us?
Your home should be your sanctuary. You know, life is hard enough right now, you know, whether we're still battling all of our unprecedented, are we all not sick of that word, right? You know, times right now. So your space should make you happy. And whether it's just painting an accent wall, you know, doing a new space plan of moving some furniture around, or going through and doing a full clutter bust demo, new countertops, it should make you happy and be a reflection of who you are. So just because you have a dining room, if you don't entertain, you can use the room, you know, as something else. You know, you as a realtor can attest to this. You're paying for that square footage. Use it how you want to use it. If you're an artist, make it an art studio. Use it to do yoga in the morning. It's your home. Make it your sanctuary. So those are my little words of wisdom.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, DeAnna. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Make sure that you subscribe because we have phenomenal guests like DeAnna lined up. So thank you again, DeAnna. Thank you everyone and have a fantastic day.
Thank you.